Holy cow, it's time for another podcast on this, the 21st of May, 2020. How you doing? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the program. Very good guest. They're all great guests. They're all great guests. Everybody's a great guest that comes on the show. Otherwise, I wouldn't ask them to come on the show. But I was able to have Lauren Keating, also known as That Runner Mom, on the show. We were able to talk about running for a while, other healthy cross exercises that you could do that would complement a running lifestyle, nutrition, health, benefits, all that good shit you need to have a healthy immune system in this 2020, these trying times. And make sure you give her a follow on both Twitter and Instagram at ThatRunnerMom. And her blog is thatrunnermom.com, where you can download her new ebook that just came out called Running from COVID. We'll go over that during the show. And also you can get it on Apple Books as well as from barnesandnoble.com. And after you've done that, if you haven't done so already, give us a follow, Tony Talks 8 on both Twitter and the Instagram, and Tony Talks 8 podcast at gmail.com for all your email inquiries. All right, enjoy the program. Here comes the intro. Here comes the show.
Make a brand new start of it in old New York.
I've been doing this since college years, so like over 10 years now. I got my BA in journalism, and then from there, I kind of had this concentration in health. So I did a lot of health and fitness reporting, and then from there, I went on to like write for like a health company, and then I started writing news for Tech Times, and then I was there.
I remembered you posting something from that, I think years ago or something. I don't know.
I was there for like 3 years. I loved it. And I did a lot of like random things. And some of it was like stuff that I never thought I would get into, like comic book stuff and a lot of like Netflix streaming. So it was fun. And then a lot of it too was like wearables and new fitness gear and ways like tech and health were combining. So it was really fun. I loved it. And then from there, I just started writing about running and took off from there.
Were you running? I remember you were on the track team, so you ran a bit. But when did it become like your like main passion?
So in high school, no, I didn't do any track. And I remember Jim Hughes from St. Clair's, that coach, he was the coach at Once More Catholic. So he was the coach there, and he would try to recruit me all the time. And I was like, I hate running. I am not running ever again. And then it wasn't until like maybe like my senior year, I would like run with friends, like for fun, like for fitness. And then in college is when I started like running as a way to like get healthy and fit. And then from there it just grew into like, it becomes like a way of life. I don't know. I'm obsessed with it. It just feels so good to do. Like I can't not run.
Yeah, you get those. It's always a pain. Yeah, but it's always a pain if you haven't done it for a while.
Oh, for sure. And I had 2 kids. So coming back from like, I did 2 half marathons while I was pregnant with my daughter. And then, so I ran the entire time. And then I had her, and then I took a break. And then coming back, I was like, oh my God, this is so hard. And like, I ran the entire time, but like, it's like starting from scratch. So now I'm kind of getting back, like my base is built, and now I just got to work on speed again. But it definitely, and it took like good 4 months to get back.
How did you run while pregnant? What was?
No, people tell me I'm crazy all the time. Slow, you run slow. That's you run pregnant. But yeah, and I didn't see with my son. I ran, but I didn't run longer distance. But then I ran 2 halves with her. Just slowly, you just do it. I don't know. I think I was so fit before that it wasn't that bad.
That's crazy. Were your feet?
Anyway.
How were your feet?
Fine. No, nothing.
Oh, shit.
The only thing, my back didn't hurt, nothing. No, it wasn't that bad. You're just slow. You don't have like the endurance.
Yeah, carrying a couple. You got like and it's not even like balanced right or proportionally because the stomach. I guess I have no idea.
Yeah, it definitely is a challenge, but it's doable. I mean, there's people who run crazy speed and they're like super pregnant. So I don't know. It's definitely doable though.
That's funny. So that's so just what well-behaved child that you're watching that you're holding while we're doing the, the
She's quiet
podcast.
for now until I have to kick her out of the room.
No, but that when she's well-behaved,
Thanks.
and I'm sure
I have, I have a 3-year-old, and you would say the opposite for him. He's wild.
that's well, I say fun age. I have no idea, but I'm sure that's a challenging age for your parents.
Oh, for sure. We call him Bart Simpson because that's exactly how he is.
Oh yeah, does
He's
he have
a
a
wild
does he have a slingshot and everything?
child. No, he doesn't. Thank God he doesn't. But it's funny because like he loves to run too. I make him run with me sometimes and do little races with him. So he's into it too. So I'm gonna make him a track star. Get that college scholarship.
There you go. That's a that sounds like that kills a couple of birds with one stone.
Do all of the sports. Yes.
Um, I had. Do you have any pets or anything?
No, I have a fish, but that doesn't
You
really
have a
count.
fish. Yeah, that's like a an object in the room. I tried to roam my dog, and he just stops.
I don't
It's
know how
just
people do
so
that.
annoying. I'm like, yeah, how do people roam with the animals?
What kind of dog do you have? First of all, I think one depends on the breed, and two depends on how far you're running.
No, he stops immediately.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
he just looks at me. It's like, we're not doing this. It's like a pit bull mix with stuff. Adopt a shelter dog.
Oh,
One of my favorite things I read that I saw in your blog before we talk about the book, um,
yeah.
the safety measures for women's self defense while running. Your product reviews.
So yeah, that was really interesting too because there's like a whole movement. There was a runner who she was featured on the cover of Runner's World, I think 3 issues ago, and she had a really amazing story. She was running, training for a marathon, and like she found running as a way to like stay sober. So she was really into getting fit and preparing for a marathon. So she stopped at the public park bathroom. She was assaulted, and she was fighting off her attacker, but her Garmin was still on. So she managed to get away, and she started this whole movement. It's called Not Today, Motherfucker, which is pretty awesome because
Nice.
that's what she screamed to the guy as she's like attacking him. And like her logo is the Garmin, how it tracks like her attack pretty much. So she moved to Jersey, and she came to one of the group runs for Jersey Shore Running Club, and she talked about it. And it's just super important, especially for women, and now more than ever, because there's no gym, people are running outside more. To run alone, it's kind of scary to be a woman and running alone in a park for sure. But one of the cool things that I found is Garmin has safety features where if you enable it and you stop running, or it detects that automatically like you fell or you're not continuing on your route, it will send an email or a text to whatever emergency contacts you have listed in the app. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's correct. That's probably good to have even if you're anybody.
Oh, for
I mean, not
sure,
even
because you just never know what can happen.
yeah. That's a terrible story about that guy. The I forgot where he was. The Ahmed Arbery.
Oh, yeah. Very
Yeah,
sad to hear that, too.
disgusting. But then
I know.
I saw you had something where there was like a ring that had like a serrated blade on it, and you
Oh,
could
guarded. Yeah, that's awesome, too. So the woman that I was talking about, she also has those products on her website as well. She uses them. So it's called Go Guarded, and it's a ring, and it's like rubber on the outside, so you can't stick yourself, but then you could punch somebody, and there's like a knife, and it's serrated, and you could do some damage. It's pretty sharp. So that is a really cool option to have too. A lot of my other friends now, they run with mace, stuff like that. I mean, I just feel like in the heat of the moment, I'm not gonna like grab a mace out, you know what I mean? But having something like physically on your body, like especially like right there on
something
your
easy.
hand,
Something it's got to be
all
easy
the
and
time. Yeah,
accessible.
yeah. I feel like I would mace myself. You know, it's
Yes,
just too
you
messy. It's
drop
just
it.
Yeah. So something like that is really cool. And they make all other kind of things. They have like knuckles, like brass knuckles, and there's so many products if you just look up like running safety products. And it's sad that we need to have, I mean, men
I
too, I
know.
guess, but I feel like for
No,
us more,
especially for women, especially for.
yeah, it's scary. And self-defense classes, I highly recommend self-defense classes. My running group, they do one maybe a year, just a good refresher, just like different techniques to like get out of like the basic holds. It's important to know.
Some jujitsu classes.
Huh?
Some jujitsu classes would probably be
Yeah,
helpful.
it was like martial arts. It was really cool and it was fun.
Yeah, of course. Then that's it falls in line perfectly with what you're trying to do, which is stay in shape and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, let me then the what your blog name is that runner mom. Am I getting that
Yeah,
right?
that's me, that runner mom. Catchy, you know?
It's do you have like a every time I was clicking on something, it's like 170 pages of everything, and it's good to if you would just and they have the beginner tips, half marathon running, just like everything that you could think of that anybody if you have no idea if you because a lot of times if you haven't anything could be overwhelming if you haven't done it yet.
Oh, for sure. And like, I don't feel like I'm an expert and I'm the fastest runner like by far, but I feel like I know what it's like to be like a beginner and like starting over so many times and like having kids and coming back or just taking time off. So just like a lot of things that I would ask, like how to do this or how to prevent this or what is this. And then just coming from like my journalism background, like I've talked to so many running coaches, professional runners, everyday runners. So I just feel like I have a lot of knowledge to give the public. So why not? But yeah, there's a lot of content on there.
I did a half marathon and I had no idea what I was doing when I was training for it. I was just going on a tread I was going to a treadmill for like 3 to 5 miles and I was like, all right. It's like
You didn't
twice.
plan online, like Google half marathon training?
I was like, yeah, I'm gonna wing it. I think I was, and then I was just like, I was getting too close. I couldn't. I was walking with a limp for like a week,
You're insane.
and but I would like to do a full marathon. That's like, it's gonna happen, but I'm like I can't do what I did for the half marathon for the full marathon.
I feel like, yeah, it's on my bucket list too. For years, I'd be like, I would never. I can't see why people would want to do this. Like, why? But now I'm like, definitely is on the list of things to do. My thing is like, how do you train? Like, how do you have time to train? People have jobs and families and responsibilities. Like, I don't have time to just run 20 miles. Like, when do you make the time to train?
Well, have you ever heard of Cam Haines?
No.
Oh, he's like an ultra marathon runner.
Okay.
He runs like 26 miles every other day,
Damn.
and he works a full 9 to 5. So whenever I feel like I'm doing a lot, I just think of that guy, and I feel like,
You're
no, you're not doing anything.
you're a slacker.
But yeah, he's isn't interesting. But he's more like trail running and all that stuff. He's like a bow hunter and everything.
But that's why I like half marathons because you can train for
It's
it.
a
Like
good,
you just need a long run on the weekend, and then during the week, worst case, you just wing it. You know.
just
I
wing it.
stay pretty. I stay pretty close to my. I ran a half marathon last weekend, and it was like for fun because all the halves are canceled. But so I was training for it, and I was like following. I have a running coach, and so I was like following our plan. And then like the last month of it, I'm like, what's the point? Like I'm busy and I don't feel like running during the week, or I'm doing other types of workouts. But I did stick to my long runs, so I did it, and it wasn't terrible. But I feel like you need to follow a training plan, or at least for me. I'm not one of those
You should.
naturally skilled runners that could just get out there. Like my friend who decided to join me, and she hadn't run more than 4 miles in a long time, but she's like crazy fast, and she's run a whole bunch of halves, and she ran the half with me and like smoked me too. She was fast and she did it. I'm like, I can't just be like, I'm gonna wake up today and run 13.1 miles. Like, she's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, you want to build tolerance because your joints will be in shock, your
Yeah,
bones.
you get injured. Yeah, pull a hamstring.
Yeah, that was something at the end of when like the last half mile, I was like, oh no, something like my thigh, like my inner thigh, like I don't even know like what these things are, and I was like, just ignore that. You're almost done. And then like there's this old guy that was about to pass me, and I was like, oh no, this isn't gonna happen. It
Old
was,
man path.
it was so silly. And meanwhile, that guy was probably like nothing for him because he was like he looked totally fine. I was just ahead of him, but I was looked like I was dying.
Right.
And then you had something about a boxing program, shadow boxing, something like that.
Yeah, I was doing that for a while. That's what I was doing in between my half marathon training. I was doing a program called 10 rounds, and that was awesome. It was 6 weeks, and it was 2 days of cardio, like shadow boxing, and then 2 days of weights. So that was awesome, and I feel like that helped me with my endurance for sure. By the time I was getting to my longer runs, like I definitely felt like I had the endurance and like the fuel in the tank to really go longer distance. So that absolutely helps. I feel like it's super important for runners to cross train in general, just because you need to be able to work out those weaker areas and keep like balance and increase your like flexibility and your overall strength. So I'm like huge into cross training. And I'm like one of those people who I like to do every type of workout. If it's like new and people are talking about it, I want to do it. So this was something a bunch of my friends were doing, and it was new. It just came out, and I was like, I have to do it. So it was awesome.
That's cool, especially during the quarantine and everything. And you could build,
Oh,
you
for
could.
sure. And I need to go to the gym, and I need to have an instructor yell at me and tell me to push, and this is what we're doing. I can't do workouts at home, so this has been really hard for me because like I don't want to just follow somebody on the TV. I'd rather just watch Netflix then, like so it definitely has taught me discipline to like still work out. And now
It's
that
a,
it's nicer, I could go for a run outside, but in the beginning of this it was still cold.
oh, well, yeah, over in the
Well, here,
Northeast, in the Northeast anyway.
now it's starting to get warmer. So
And that's a good point too, because there's a lot of studies coming out about vitamin D and the effect it has on respiratory illnesses.
yeah,
And so being outside and being able to absorb it is a good way to like prevent. Not that like, this nothing here should be taken as medical advice, by the way. So if you're
yeah,
listening,
for sure.
don't
And I
sue
feel
anybody.
like I heard a lot of vitamin D, vitamin C is what I hear. Same, like just it will help. Maybe it's not, a way of treatment. And then just exercise in general. It just keeps your body, keeps your immune system going. So it's important to stay active. And then it's funny because like in my book, I mentioned a lot of doctors and a lot of running coaches are saying, yeah, exercise and continue to run, but don't push it too much and scale back on your intensity, because there's like what's called as like an open window theory, where after hard exercise like a marathon, your immune system is a little bit down because your body is repairing all those muscles and working to recover itself. So in that small, I think it's like a 72-hour window, like you could be more susceptible to illness. So
That makes
they're
sense.
saying, right? Interesting. And then there's other studies that say, no, this isn't really true. That the studies that did show this, I mean, they didn't really control it too well, and it's just one cohort of marathoners. So, it's not the end all. So definitely what I'm hearing from the experts is run, but just scale it back a little bit. Not every run has to be a hard run. Like you don't have to push the pace every run. You don't have to run long distance every run. Throw it in there, but it's more about just getting back to like the love for the run, easy conversational pace.
Okay.
And that's
That
important
that
for the high school or the college kids who like they want to do cross country in the fall, if there is a cross country season in the fall. So like how do they train right now? Like what are they doing? So I found that a lot of them are saying, yeah, we're continuing to train, but it's more conversational pace, super easy, and just building up a base and like increasing the mileage slowly. And then they'll throw in some hard workouts here and there, but it's mostly just not getting injured and not getting sick is what they're saying they're doing.
Yeah, because it's a long term. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah,
Not that it's literally a marathon, but
seriously, yeah,
that's the saying.
that is.
But that makes sense that there is like a 72. I haven't heard that, but you definitely feel compromised after you put your body through something. You're in
Oh, for
shock
sure.
almost.
Right. You have to think like what your body's going through because you're in a state of like stress, even though like, it's good stress, like your body's
Right.
still that fight or flight. So doing that for so long and all those miles, like, your body takes a beating.
Again, it's probably
Or
overactive.
even if you're just sprinting like short distance, like still your body, is at work, hard at work.
You're probably releasing like all types of like I don't know biological stuff. That's
Yeah, there's all types of different ways. There's like lactic acid, and there's a
yeah.
whole bunch of other things that your body has to like get rid of. So there's like things going on in your body during a run and after. So it's important to like recover after,
Give you
which is good too, because then there was like a coach I was talking to, and he was saying how like all his like adult runners, like you go from like race to race to race. Like in the spring, for example, I love to run 5Ks, and then I love to like throw in 1 or 2 half marathons in there. So I literally go from race to race to race. Now I'm a professional runner, and I'm not looking to win the whole thing or do anything crazy like that. They're like my own personal goals, but still I go from race to race. So, and obviously you want your best time each time. So at least now without all these races, it's a way to just remove all of that and like recover and then come back with just one race maybe or one big goal to strive for next year or whenever the community goes back to the way it was, which I think will be a long time.
you think it'll be a long
So
time before it goes back to the way it was?
yeah, I think that, well, New York Marathon is still on in the fall. They just
That's
announced that
not gonna
they're
happen. I don't think it's gonna happen.
don't think it's going to happen either. And even if it were to, like, do you really think so many people are going to be like, yeah, I want to be like in a crowded place right now in New York and run? Like, even though I'm running, like all the crowds, a lot of people might not even want to do it. So it's one thing if it's even held, and then the second if people actually show up to it. So hang on 1 second.
Go ahead. You're good.
Yeah, sorry. So I think it'll be a long, long time.
That runner mom is doing double duty right now on podcast and with her
And
regular
with
mom
school,
duties. Her
yeah.
priority job.
That's another thing. I don't know how people work at a time like this. Like, how are these people like homeschooling their kids? Like, my kids are young. Like, I have preschool to do. It's like ABCs. But imagine if he was like in 8th grade. How am I teaching him and then like doing work online? Like, it's impossible. I don't know how people are dealing with it right now. The struggle's real.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be preschool is one thing. Yeah, was this just like count to three or something like that? I don't
Yeah.
know. I
Like
mean,
he'll be okay. Even if we did nothing, like he'll go to school and
it'll be
he'll catch
fine.
up, he'll be fine, you know what I mean? It's not like I have to really teach him anything. So I don't know how these parents are doing it, like older
Yeah, the
kids.
older kids pain the and that for the listeners, that's a reason why, if you want to wait to have kids, maybe follow the Tony way. And
Do you want any kids or
no,
no?
yeah, of course I do. I'll be a good dad. Hey, get over there, kid. What are you doing?
Yeah.
It's a bad kid. Bad kid. All right, come here. You're doing all right. No, I'm just kidding. No, my fiance definitely wants children, but we're having a confliction over how many. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
I said I would want like 2, and then I had my son. I'm like, I would have like 4. Now, like, no, I have 2, and I'm good. That's all you need.
I say, have one and take it from there. See if that's it. That might be enough.
I agree 1,000%.
My brother's got 3, and
Oh wow.
if I call him, it just sounds like chaos in the background. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh yeah, this is, they're playing the thing or they got the TV. I'm like, dude, I'll call you later. We went to sleep.
Either have back to back, so then they just grow up together, or you space them out so then the older ones can help the younger ones. So there's
Yeah,
2 different strategies.
I had a buddy. He's got like 5 kids, and they were like spaced out from like 5 years apart. And then he was like, "Oh, we just had our 5th one." I'm like, "Dude, it's just like you're like starting over.
Yeah,
you're like,
that's a good point.
because I'll be
Yeah.
calculating in my head, how old would this kid be when I'm then?
It's true though.
No, but no, I give credit. I'm just breaking chops. I give credit to everybody that's
Oh, I do too. I have a
children.
friend who has 5 kids, and I don't know how she does it, but she does it, and she does a great job at it. So,
Yeah, God bless them. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to handle it when the time's right. Um, what is I so you had a lot of interesting, like, you spoke to a lot of people for the book.
I did. I did.
Was there anybody that stood out? I'm sure you probably might not want to single people out, but
There's so many people that were good to talk to. I spoke to an elite runner. Her name is Alexis Zeiss, and she's awesome. She ran in the marathon trials. She didn't make the Olympic team, but she's like a 71-minute half marathoner. She's super fast, and she's still young in her career. She graduated from UMary, so I think that she has like a long running career ahead of her. So I had talking to her. We spoke right before the trials for the marathon, and so we already had like this rapport going. And then when this happened, I was like, I have to talk to her and see how she's training, how she's dealing, what's going on after, since. So it was interesting to hear from her how she had moved back home, thinking it'll just be a week or two because I'm not training for anything, and she wound up being there for like almost 2 months at the time I had spoken to her. So, and she basically was saying the same thing, like, yeah, I'm just scaling back on my workouts, and she has a lot of friends who are still in college running, and they're having a hard time dealing with it, especially if it was like your last year, because it's like, do you go pro? Do you just say, okay, I'm done with this, like, time to get a real job, or
what
enter the
what's
world?
what is a professional runner's
So from
life like?
I mean, I guess I'm not a pro runner, so I don't know. From the ones that I've spoken to, some of them have like day jobs, quote unquote, and then they race
Oh,
professionally
they probably race for
under
times and
under a team, and like somebody sponsors them, and then they're like the elite group who are looking to win these races and go on, and then most of them want to go on to the Olympics. That's like the ultimate goal. So, and then there's like levels to it. Some of them then quit their full-time job and they just do this full time. There's an elite runner I've spoken with a few times, Stephanie Bruce, and she won Peachtree in 2017, I believe. And since then, like, her career has just really gone up, and she almost made the Olympic team. I think she came in 10th place at the trials for the marathon. And she this is what she does. This is her job. So she also has a side business. She has picky bars, which is snack bars
yeah,
for runners.
those two.
Yeah, they're awesome, by the way. I'm not just saying that because like I've interviewed her. Like I love the product. So I mean, I guess there's levels to how you go about running professionally. So for Lexi Zeiss, she said she was in college and she was about to graduate, and it was either go on to grad school and become an assistant coach for one of the running teams, or she could just decide not to go to grad school and follow running professionally in hopes that she can like make a career out of it. And that's what she ended up doing. So she decided not to go to grad school, and now she does this full time.
Wow, that's awesome. Running full time, getting paid to do something you love.
Yeah,
Pretty,
imagine.
yeah, that's the dream that we're all chasing.
It is great.
Um,
Yeah, she
would
was interesting to talk to. I spoke to a lot of doctors. They were always good insight. One of them is in Maryland, and then another one, he works at a Brooklyn Methodist hospital, and he's actually treating coronavirus patients. So it was interesting to talk to him, and see his recommendations. And a big thing I feel like is like the mask or no mask debate. Like, do you wear a mask when you're running or you don't?
no,
So
don't wear a mask when you run. I'll
you
tell
don't
you.
Me too. So it's funny, as I'm running with my friend last weekend, I hadn't run with anybody, and we were like, oh, we'll run together. And we were side by side, we were at a distance, we did it safe. So she's telling me a story how she was running during the week at a park, and some woman like was shouting at her, "Wear a mask! What are you doing?" And she's like,
Not.
"I'm running. Like, don't be in the park then. Like, don't walk in front of me. I'm not wearing a mask. You absolutely don't need to wear a mask while you're running. Just don't breathe on
It's
people."
open air. It's open air. You're not gonna. If you're
It's
that
ridiculous. It's
concerned,
ridiculous.
stay home. Avoid people.
Exactly. Yes. So you definitely don't need to wear a mask. So basically, the doctors just say just social distance. One running coach I spoke to said instead of running in like single file, run side by side, so that if you are breathing particles in the air, they're going out
Right.
and not
Yes.
like right into your thing. So it's like common sense. Like just be smart and yeah. So
Yeah.
the parks here in Jersey, they just reopened. So for a while, like we couldn't even go to the parks. So I ran out of park, I think a week or two ago, and people actually practice social distancing. So hopefully nobody messes it up for the rest of us. My fear is that everything opens and then it just everybody's out and it gets worse again, and then we're back to square one.
I don't think. Well, I don't know, but it doesn't seem like it was as bad as they thought it was gonna be. Just the whole COVID as in general, how it affects people.
I mean, now the last thing I read is saying that if you get infected, then you're not contagious anymore, or if you
Oh,
get reinfected, you're not contagious anymore. So I feel like everything changes day by day, and that nobody really knows anything.
yeah, nobody knows anything, especially the CDC, the government. They're all just winging it.
Oh yeah,
The World Health Organization said that it doesn't spread person to person the same day they concluded that it spread person to person in January
just all over the place.
because they're embedded with China. China. Um, what do you do to like stretching is something that's like so under like I'm like an idiot with stretching. And
Yeah,
now I'm starting to feel things more. So I'm like, you gotta stress. You gotta stress, but you gotta stretch.
you gotta stress your stretching. I'm one of those runners who like hate to stretch too. I get it. Like it's nobody wants to, but it's important. They say do more of a dynamic warm up before your run, like do lunges and like don't just like drop down and touch your toes. That's doing nothing. Like warm up your muscles, do some jumping jacks, do some squats, stuff like that. So I mean, it's they say do like 5 minutes. It depends. Sometimes I just go out and I'll walk for a little bit and then I start my run and that's my warm up. Other times I'll do a little bit of a warm up. But they say stretch after. I don't always. I'm guilty of that, but it's important.
I started doing a little bit of there's all these YouTube videos of yoga. So much yoga, post run yoga, blah blah blah.
Are you a
So
fan?
I'm surprisingly becoming bigger and a bigger fan of yoga.
Really? I'm like, I follow a lot of like runners and just people on Instagram, and like the yoga runners are like in the best shape ever, and they're doing all these poses, and I'm jealous. Like I wish I could like it. It's just it's not for me.
The
I
thing,
don't.
you got to find what works. Everybody has
Yeah.
something that works for them. You got to find what works for
And
you.
I can't just do poses by myself, like, oh, I'm gonna do some yoga stretches. Like I need like somebody instructing me. So then it's like then it becomes a whole process. Now I need to get a workout video. I gotta find a video on YouTube. I'm like, I don't
I,
need
I,
it.
I usually I'll put it up and it'll be loaded, so when I come back up, like I could just hit
That's a
play.
good idea. That's a good idea.
I was getting pretty flexible. I was like, my girl, I was like, hey, look what I could do here now. It's like, oh my god. Um, when did you get the idea to write running from COVID? That's the title?
Running from COVID. Yep. How did I get the idea? So my day job, I do a lot of freelance writing. So I was doing a lot of different articles on I did one about like the vitamin D, the vitamin C, how that can
Oh,
help.
you gotta send it to me.
Oh, I will for sure. So I did a few of those. I did a few of like, oh, exercising can help during this time. So, I mean, I'm already always researching, learning, reading, talking to people. And then we were a few weeks into the sheltering in place. And I'm like, well, hello, like I'm a journalist. Like I love to write. I love to run. Like I feel like it's so important to capture what's going on right now, and then maybe even help runners get some answers to questions they might have, like, do you need to wear a mask, or how should they be training right now, and how are runners really dealing with it? So then I was like, all right, that's it. I'm just gonna attempt this, and I just started doing some more interviews and started writing it, and yeah,
Okay,
try to
so
get out there as
it's just
best I can.
natural. It just naturally, just because of what you're already doing, you just
Yeah, it
start.
just seemed like a natural progression for sure.
Okay, and you started a couple of weeks after the quarantine started.
Yeah, I was already like maybe 4 weeks into it. And so my husband's like, you should have thought about this sooner. It should have been out already. And I'm like, yeah. And that's like a whole nother thing. Like then releasing it as an ebook, there's so many different platforms. And then you have to wait till everybody like approves you. So now it's available on my website. It's available at barnesandnoble.com. And now today it's on Apple Books. So for iOS, you can search it and you could download it on your phone, on your tablet, on your Mac, all of that. It's not on Amazon. That was denied because of the nature
Okay,
of the topic. They're not releasing anything about COVID-19 unless it's like scientific journal studies, I guess. Which I mean, I get it, but so
fascist.
yeah. So you
Um,
cannot get it on Amazon, but maybe one day.
but it's available on iOS. Um,
Barnes and Noble's my
Barnes and
website,
Noble.
and then it'll be in the Google Play Store. But I'm just waiting for them to release it.
Were you gonna do an Audible version?
I was thinking about that. I don't know. Possibly. I don't like my speaking voice, so I wouldn't want to be like the reader of it.
I hate my speaking voice. When I'm editing these podcasts, I'm like, oh God, shut up.
Really? Oh no, it's actually it sounds good. You have a good voice for a podcast. I did radio in college, and I would hate hearing back my episodes. Like, oh, cringe at my voice.
Cringe is the perfect word. I think that's the thing that everybody has about their own voice.
I think so. Like, you know, when you hear yourself on a voicemail and you're like, oh, that's what I sound like.
That's what I
It's
sound like.
horrible.
And then being in Texas, I'm getting reminded that I'm not from here all the time.
See, I feel like you don't have an accent, but
Oh
I feel like
God.
I don't have an accent either. But then you're in Texas. I'm sure they're like, where the hell are you from?
Yeah, no, yes. Because I was in the army and like drill sergeant thought I was from overseas or something. And I was,
Really?
yeah, I'm like, no, I'm from New York. They were like, "Oh, do you have a speech impediment?" I'm like, "No, I'm from New York." Oh, it's the same thing. I'm like, "Oh, okay. You're pleasant." Um,
That's
let's
funny.
do you have any this is a good suggestion for people, running shoes.
Yeah.
What do you
Super
use?
important. I go back and forth. My go-to are Brooks. I
I have
have Brooks go
Brooks.
11 and 12. I like the 12s. They're my favorite. But then I started really getting into like Adidas. So I have the Solar Glides, which I really like. It kind of depends. If I'm going for like a short speed, I usually wear my Solar Glides from Adidas. If I'm going for a longer run, I'm like in my Brooks, and I'm a
Brook
Ghost fan.
Brooks 1112 Ghost.
Yep, those are my favorite.
Okay. I have Ravennas, I think.
Okay. Do you like them?
Yeah, I don't know. That's when I wore them when did the half, and then I couldn't walk. But I don't know if it's because they were new, and I just bought because I bought the same pair
Oh, wait.
twice.
Tell me you didn't just buy a new pair and then ran the half. You have to break them in.
But the ones that I was broken in, they were on the tail end.
See, yeah, you timed it bad. Yeah.
So
So
I
it's
think
like, do you wear the new ones or you wear the older ones?
this is horrible. Yeah. So if anybody wants to run a half, just do the opposite of what I've been doing. You should.
Don't listen to you. Yeah, they say, I think, what is it? Like between like 200 and 500 miles or something like that, you should get new shoes. So it depends on how much you run, but maybe get like 2 pairs a year. But I run a lot and I love sneakers, so I buy a lot of pairs. Sometimes it's like the same kind in different colors, but yeah. And then you know what you should also do is get fitted. Go to a running store
Right.
and get them properly fitted, because different brands, like the sizing might be different. You might be a half a size bigger, or maybe you're just not in the right shoe. Maybe you need more stability or more cushion. So like I'm like a neutral shoe person. There's some that like might need more support or more cushion, but I'm like right in the middle. So then it's easy to find shoes because then you just look up which Brooks or which Nikes have like the similar.
Those running shorts, they charge a little bit, but it's worth it.
Yeah,
I feel
well, I go to Roadrunner Sports and it's like free. It's like part of it for them to like give you like the analysis.
I think they mark
Um,
up the shoes though a little bit.
yeah, but the shoes are a little pricey unless you're like a VIP member, and then so it's like a yearly membership, and then you get the shoes on discount, which would pretty much be the same price as if you went on Amazon and got them. So, and like you don't have to buy them. Like you can always just go in, get it, get fitted, and then be like, oh, okay, write down the ones you like, and then
Yeah,
find
that's
the
the way
right
to
seat.
do it.
Yeah. Or like then get the model from the year before. Like don't get the newer one. Like if you like the Ghost 12s, like maybe try the 11s, and
I
they might
think
be a little cheaper.
I think I'm gonna try those now.
Oh,
They're
I love them. They're like my go-to. Some of the Brooks, like I don't like. Like I tried the glycerins or whatever I think they're called glycerin something. And there's a lot of numbers out, so they're up there. I didn't like them at all. I had to return them. But the Ghosts are like my go-to favorite.
I think I've heard of them. I don't know. I went to the store and I went to like I don't know if it was Roadrunner, but it was like the same type of like runner store.
Yeah.
And they did the whole fitted thing, and then I was like, oh, let me get the Revenas, but I don't know if they're good for like arch support or something. I don't know because it's
Yeah.
hard to tell when you just run up and down the street real quick.
Yeah, no. That's why I like at Roadrunners, you're on a treadmill and they have like these little cameras and then they study how like your foot lands and
Oh yeah, that's right.
cool. There's another place, I think it's called Jack Rabbit Sports in Manhattan. They also do it there with the camera. Then there's like other places. There's like some local running shops here, but they don't use like a treadmill or anything. They kind of just like look at your feet. So I mean, you kind of just have to trust
They
the
look
sales
at your feet.
associate. I'm like, do you know what you're doing? They say, yeah.
You take their word for it. Hopefully,
Yeah.
they've seen enough feet. What about dieting?
What about it? What do you want to know?
This is when you're preparing. There was the old adage. I don't know how true. Like I don't think it's, but they say load up on carbs the night before, have some big bowls of pasta before
Yeah.
like a big race. Or
So talking to years and years of like going back on this debate,
this is an endless debate that'll continue.
yeah, carbs, yes, definitely carb load, but you can't do it the night before. That's not how you do it. You need to start 2 weeks before and slowly increase your carbohydrate intake so that you're building up your stores. So the carbs that
Ah,
get broken down into glucose and they get stored into your muscles, and then so you're building them up slowly. And then so eating pasta the night before isn't doing shit. You need to build it up at least 2 weeks before,
did
and
you
then
did you
yeah.
watch The Office?
Yes.
They did the you know what I'm talking about. I could talk to you left already. The one when they have find the cure for rabies, and
Yeah,
Michael Scott is eating fettuccine as he's running.
it's so good. I love that show. But
So
yeah,
that wouldn't be an optimal solution though.
no, that wouldn't. Yeah, you need to have more than just a bowl of pasta, and you're supposed to have a hot like the day before a race, have a bigger lunch that's carb heavy, and go lighter on the dinner, so your body has enough time to digest it, and then try to eat a
Uh,
little something in the morning. Usually I don't eat before a run. My stomach can't handle it, but if I'm doing a half marathon, I'll have like half a bagel or a piece of toast with like nut butter just to feel like I
good.
have something.
We should clarify good carbs.
Yeah, good carb
Up your good carbs. Like
for sure.
I like oatmeal.
Don't just have like pizza and like chips and be like, yeah, I'm carb loading. Sweet potatoes, whole grain rice.
Any whole like
Yeah.
if I have bread, I'm having whole grain typically.
Yeah, so that's perfect.
That's good, right?
Yep.
And oatmeal. I like oatmeal like if I before workout, big workout.
Do you always eat before a run or it depends?
No, I don't always. Um, but if I got like if I'm getting up and I have like a busy day, I'll eat something and then I'll have something light after or a shake after the.
Yeah, I'm a big like protein shake kind of person.
That's yeah. And I was gonna ask about after. So after when your body's in recovery,
You're supposed to have something like within 30 minutes, like a small snack. Do a protein shake, do a chocolate milk is really good for recovery. And then try to have like a real meal within 2 hours after. So usually I do like a protein shake or a smoothie or a little chocolate milk after. But also it depends. Like if I'm going for like a quick like 3 mile run, like I'm more relaxed. But after a half marathon
yeah, I was
or
gonna say depend.
I'm like, yeah.
So if you're doing like a half marathon or anything like say 10 miles or maybe like I guess it depends on the person because this 3 mile run might be different. If you're just starting out,
True. Yeah, for sure.
you might need those that extra replenishment.
And I feel like everybody's different too. Like some people they need something in their system before even if they're going for a short run. Like I can't, and it depends on the intensity. Like if I was doing like a high intensity training workout, like I can't eat at all. Like I need an empty stomach because I know I'm going to be like jumping around, my heart rate's up. Like I need to be on an empty stomach. Whereas like some people they need like energy in their tank to start. So it's like you have to find what works best for you.
Yeah, something that's not going to upset your stomach if you do
Yeah,
it.
always go light.
Probably.
Sure, don't like have a full on.
That's why I like a little oatmeal. It's
Oatmeal's
just,
a good choice. Yeah.
yeah, good choice. Good choice for Tony. Doing all right. Yeah. Um, so going back to the book, the people you spoke to and the doctors and everything, did they talk about? So they did talk about running during COVID season, as we're
Yes.
talking about. Um, did they say anything about whether it's the type of environment that you're running in?
There was one doctor I spoke to, the Dr. Borriello, who's in New York, and what he mentioned about that is it's better to run outdoors for sure. So than being in the gym. I know like the gyms are closed right now, but when gyms do reopen, it's better to exercise outdoors for sure. Um,
Exercise, like all around exercise outdoors.
that's what he said. So I
But
mean, do you really want to be in a gym?
I mean, like it's like being in a like a. I'm just thinking like running on the street or running on like concrete versus running on trails.
Oh, well, for this, I haven't, we didn't really get into like the specifics of that. I think it really just depends on you as a person and where you live. Like if you're in a highly populated area, don't run there. Don't go to Central Park if there's going to be so many people out there. Instead, check out a trail or go around, your neighborhood. The general idea is to stay away from large crowds for sure when you're running outside. And like I said before, run side to side, not in single file. Try to space out, you know,
Right.
like that.
Okay.
Stay hydrated, have a good diet because you don't want your immune system down.
Those goo packets for like longer runs.
Yeah.
Those are good to have. Um, I had a few of those when I did the half, and then I read an article about somebody that they were in good shape, they were a runner, they got COVID,
Ooh.
and it was such a struggle. And I read it. This is how common it is because there's so many asymptomatic cases where it's really hard to gauge. But they had a real struggle getting back into things after their recovery. Um, and they said they did 8 miles, but they just felt so weak and they ran so slow as compared to what they were used to. So the impact on the lungs is really like we're going to find out like long-term things about how it affects people.
It's really interesting. I wish that I had spoken to somebody who was a runner who had it, and couldn't find anybody at the time. But yeah, I mean, it really affects your lungs, and it's that upper respiratory infection. So I'm curious to see how, in the years to come, how his running would be moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's because it's so much. And that's the thing, we don't know like anything about this. So people that had it, even like positive antibody tests, stuff like that, that they were like, oh, I didn't even know I had the COVID to see how their long term effects would be. And I think it's good to note that with the quarantine and with type of, especially the content that you're sharing on your blog, you don't need a million resources. Like when the gym shut down, when gym shut down, a lot of people were like, "Oh, what am I going to do to stay in shape?" But you don't need any equipment to do a run. The boxing program you talk about, you said there's weights twice a week, but I presume it's not that many weights
Yeah,
or
just
anything.
like dumbbells. Like you just need like a 5 pound, 10 pound, whatever you have at home. If you don't have it, you could just use nothing.
Yeah, like body weight stuff.
Yep.
Um, and you could get a good workout in a limited time space.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And that's something that I'm realizing too is, even without a gym, 40 minutes to do a high intensity thing or whatever, you have a couple of weights. First thing I do is buy a pull-up bar and, you could be good to go. Have you participated in any like virtual races?
Well,
Because what are those virtual races anyway? Because I keep seeing those. And
yeah. So there's two ways that the virtual races happen. So that there's some that have just been created because of what's going on now. So like, oh, the COVID-19 virtual race for this, for that, for nurses. So some of them are free, some of them you pay for, and they'll send you like a t-shirt or a medal or something. And then you set out whatever day, whatever time, and then you do that distance wherever on a treadmill outside. And then there's some that the races that were supposed to be held that were canceled or postponed, they went virtual so that you could still do that distance on that day, only virtually, wherever. So, for
you
example,
just you just send in.
some of them are like an honor system. Some of them you just log in and then you put your time or you put your Garmin information. I don't think they really care. It's more about, hey, let's keep running and let's be healthy. So, for example, like I was supposed to run Rock and Roll Atlantic City on May 16th. So they canceled till next year. But a bunch of the women in my running group, they were like, let's run it anyway, and we'll just do it virtually. So we did it unofficially. We just decided to run the mileage just because, like, for funsies. So that's how we did our run virtually.
How long have you been part of a running group?
Let me see. I think it's been 3 years now, 3 or 4 years. 3 years about.
Because that's like something, if you want to know how to start, and I've never been a part of one. Are they in? Because they have like meetups and stuff.
Best thing ever. So
Okay.
yeah, I love my running group. So I was running in a local park one day, and I wind up running side by side with another woman. So we were kind of running together, but we had never met. And at the end of the run, we were like, "Oh, hey, good job, good job." We start, small talk. So she told me that there's a running group that meets at that same park on Saturday mornings. It's free. You could come out, and this group is all women. And just come, and if you just want to meet other people who like to run, and it's all paces, all ages, you could go whatever distance. So I went, and I was hooked from day one. We have an awesome coach, Coach Jen. So she leads the workouts.
Shout out to Coach Jen.
Yeah, seriously. You can run during the week. You meet friends. One of my best friends is in the group. But every Saturday we meet at the park for free and do our little runs together, and it becomes like a community. And then in the same token, if you wanted to do races, and we do plenty of races, my coach will train you and help you either start with your first 5K or do your first half marathon or get that race time that you want. So she's very great about being individual and helping you achieve your goals. So I grew so much as a runner. I went from just running for fun, like, hey, I want to go out and do 3 miles because it makes me feel good, to like racing and getting really fast and really good at it and placing at races. And
Oh, awesome.
because of her, I mean, their age groups, it's not like I'm winning much, but still it's something. So definitely. And just having that community, and like nobody else I know really runs the way I run. Like this is like my way to work out. Some friends are like super into spinning, which I love going to spin classes, but it was a way to find a group of runners that this is what we love to do. And hey, I have to run 10 miles. I don't want to do it alone. You want to come with me? There's plenty of people to be like, yeah, I'll meet up with you.
It's plenty of people.
Yeah, this group is huge. There's like 700 of us, like on Facebook.
Shoot.
Yeah, Yeah, it's yeah, she's amazing. It's called She Runs in Jersey.
She runs. It's all women.
All women.
Okay. I'm starting one called He Runs. It's just me so far. So that's so
You could
that
go online too and just like
I
search for like running groups in your state.
they're probably
America, they have clubs everywhere. There's a few. There's like the Jersey Shore running group. I've run with them. There's an Old Bridge running group. I've run with them, men and women. So yeah, there's options in every state. Highly recommend. It's a good way to stay motivated and to find people
and
to
there's
get
all they'll
along.
welcome all levels too. I guess
Yeah,
it depends on the group.
for sure, because it's all paces. So there's some that are slow, some are fast. There's some people who like I've seen like on Facebook, and they're like, "Oh, I can't find a good running club because all the people are too fast, and I feel like I'm too slow, and they leave you behind." So it really depends on the club and the people and the coach running it. My group is amazing, and there's always someone to run with. So I lucked out.
Okay. So if you want to join a group, I guess get some intel on the or
Yeah.
tell them what your level is.
For sure. And then just show up to one and see how it goes. I mean, it could be intimidating because like I remember when I first started showing up, like I felt like I'm not fast, like I'm not like a real runner, and like you don't know anybody. So if you're shy, you're like, this is super awkward. And then after a couple weeks, like they become like family, and there's always someone that you could talk to, somebody at a similar pace. So judgment-free zone is why I like my group.
Judgment-free zone.
Yep.
The Planet Fitness of running groups.
Yes.
As far as I saw you do one-on-one coaching and stuff.
Yeah, I do a little bit of health coaching as well. So I like to help people looking to start a fitness routine or to get in a healthier mindset or achieve healthy goals. I can do that and consult with you one-on-one and try to help you do that. So I'm not a nutritionist. I'm studying to become a personal trainer, get my license. So they're not really
Nice.
workouts or specific diet plans, but just in general, just to help you stay on track and reach healthy goals. And I can help you find the right experts. If say you needed a running coach or you were looking for a dietitian, I can kind of navigate you and help you there. But mostly just to help you stay on track to being healthy and fit. And especially now more than ever, I feel like people need to be healthy physically, mentally, spiritually, however.
Yeah. With I lost my train of thought. When you I get the most common thing that you hear from experts is just being, as far as combating COVID or whatever it is you need to combat, just having a healthy immune system. The best thing to do for that is just be healthy, fit, and all the things that you just said.
For sure. And it's hard because there's plenty of times where like I just want to like eat pizza or like chicken wings and drink an excessive amount of wine. And there's days that I do that, but I also exercise a lot and I try to eat predominantly healthy and it's all about balance.
Yeah, find that right balance, and because you had that extra chicken wing, you might have to go an extra quarter mile or whatever.
Right.
So if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do it?
You can reach out on Facebook, facebook.com//that runner mom. I'm on Twitter, that runner mom, Instagram, that runner mom. Make it nice and easy. Check out my website.
I'll follow you on Instagram because that's where I do the predominant promotion for this.
Yeah, I same for my blog. I do a lot on Instagram. I just love the platform. I think it's a great way to connect with so many people, more than Facebook actually. I use Facebook more like personally, but for I'm more on Instagram. And I hated the stories at first because I was a Snapchat user, but now I'm like stories all day. I love it.
Okay, yeah, I used to do it. I used to be on Snapchat too, but I guess the stories on Instagram and Facebook. It's like the same thing. It's just as good.
Yeah, I mean it is.
So yeah, I think I hear a lot of background noise.
Sorry. Children.
So I could let you go get back to your mom duties now. And is there anything else that you will want to talk about before we say see you later?
We hit a lot of good points. We talked nutrition, running, COVID.
Yeah, all that good stuff, all the essential stuff. I'll say that if you're gonna get go on if you're interested in the book, go on your website, thatrunnermom.com, right?
Yes.
And then check out the blog. So much content. If
Yeah,
you're
thank
like
you so much.
anything that you will like want to, if you're lost, you don't know where to go, your blog seems like a great starting point for anybody that it really doesn't matter what level you are, and you have all types of like different type of reviews too. I thought the coolest one was the self-defense stuff. I was like, oh shit, this would be cool to have. And then you have stuff about juice cleanses, all types of really things, and cross training information as well. So definitely a
A
great
little bit
starting
of
point.
everybody.
All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in.
Make a brand new start of it in old New England.